Hi, this is Jay Arthur, author of Lean Six Sigma Demystified, Lean Six Sigma for Hospitals, and the QI Macros. In the last video, we talked about how, Six Sigma's kind of gotten overblown in terms of the people we're caring for, people in service industries, right? So we have the Job of the Hut version of Lean and Six Sigma, but maybe there's a Princess Leia version we can develop a new relationship with, right? Maybe a little hotter girl, okay? So here's what I'd like you to think about is I'm going to go back to the world of software. Now, when I was growing up and all the software world, I built software for mainframes, mini computers, microcomputers. I've done all that stuff, all right? And the predominant methodology was called waterfall, right? And I saw Dr. Royce, the guy who coined that phrase. And waterfall, you kind of start out at the top and then you go down, right? The metaphor is you start at the top and then you just kind of crash and burn on the bottom. And that's how a lot of software projects worked, right? And Dr. Royce was so upset when I saw him speak. This was Bell Laboratories, this is a long time ago. But he said, I was thinking we were going to iterate through this process, but when you go over Niagara Falls, do you get a lot of chance to come back and loop back? No, that's not how it works. And so in 2000, some programmers got together and they said, well, maybe we can take those lean principles, the principles of lean, and apply them to software. And they started thinking about, well, how can we hack the software process? And guess what? They started thinking about, well, how could we do little time box things where in a couple weeks we're going to produce real working code? Right? And how can we do a lean version of this where we get constant feedback, constant iteration? And they came up with a phrase called agile software development, right? And so agile. And they talk about this whole idea of hacking. Now, I know we've had all this stuff about, people in other countries hacking Sony or America or emails or whatever it is, right? So that's a bad form of hacking, right? But from a software perspective, hacking is about producing really elegant code quickly, right? There's even a hackers conference where they have a challenge, right? And so Mark Zuckerberg from Facebook fame, says it's really about how do we create the best product or service and how do we do it quickly and do it in small little iterations so we don't have to worry about failing so much. Because most of the old software projects failed, right? Or people couldn't use the thing that came out the other end because it took too long. And by then the requirements had changed, right? Or, they ended up using the software in the wrong way. So this is where things come from. So let's think about how would we start to hack lean? How would we hack lean given that not everybody works in manufacturing and most people work in service industries now? So if you look at lean, there's this 8-letter acronym. So the first one is we want, I call them the speed bumps of lean. So there's delay and there's overproduction. And there's, let's see, this is waste and rework. And non-value-added work. And then there's transportation. And inventory. And motion. And employee creativity is really the 8th speed bump down there. Now, if you think about this, what is really the common thing that exists in all service industries? Well, there's too much delay, right? So if you go into an emergency room in America, it can take you 2 to 4 hours to get in and out. Well, you may only spend 20 minutes with a clinician, a lab test, or whatever, but it's going to take a long time. And so delays, unnecessary, preventable delays, are completely key to improving speed inside of any service industry. And then motion, right? Walking is waste. Walking is waste. And transportation is a form of that, but most of this was about moving materials and things. In a service industry, you tend not to produce things that nobody's asked for, right? Because they're not going to build you a sandwich at Subway till you show up, right? They're not going to treat you for whatever your illness is before you show up at your doctor's office. So that tends not to be a problem, right? Now, waste and rework is a problem, but I always think that's easier done with Six Sigma. Non-value-added work. Well, there is some of that, but And inventory. We don't have a lot of inventory because, you know, it's usually not that important. So what are we going to do to figure out delay in motion? Simple, simple. We're going to use this advanced technology, right? I always tell people, here's our advanced technology for lean, right? So we might do a value stream map, right? So we're going to have activities and an arrow in between. Now I can tell you 99% of the time that we spend in a service industry is in the arrow, not in the box, right? And we spend a lot of time teaching people in lean, how do we optimize the box and the changeover time and this and that and the other thing and tack time. Oh my God, that's not where we're wasting time. 57 minutes out of every hour is spent in the arrows. Let's fix the arrows. All right? And then, what about motion? Well, motion, you just lay out what the thing looks like and draw a spaghetti diagram. Right? And once you start finding out, again, most of the waste, most of the delay, and everything else is in the arrows, right? Take your eye off the thing, right? Figure out where's it traveling and how do I shorten those arrows. Those two things alone will dramatically improve the speed and quality of any service organization. And do you need to know anything else about this? No. Do you need a week-long Kaizen event? No. Because most service industries, you cannot shut down a nursing unit for a week and fiddle with it, right? You have to change it in flight, right? It has to be while you're working. So can you do this in one of these two things in a couple of hours and come up with a better way to rearrange things or reduce things or get rid of the delays? Sure you can. All right, so that's how we're going to hack lean. We're going to use these advanced tools, and we're going to take these advanced tools and we're going to actually take that and get people for a couple hours to figure out how's it working now, current state, desired state, how do we want it to work in the future, now let's go move some stuff around, right? It's not that hard and it's not that costly. And you can do it in a couple hours, not a couple of weeks. All right, so that's how we're going to hack lean, right? So we can go from the Jabba the Hutt version of lean to the Princess Leia version of lean. And I think I can fall in love with this one, right? Because she's fast and fun, right? The Jabba the Hutt version is slow and agonizing, all right? Now, if you work in manufacturing, by all means, take all of these things and go after them. But I have learned in service industries, if we just do these two things, dramatic improvements in speed and quality and profitability are all available. Speed is the killer app. So I'm going to invite you to get involved, figure out how to use value stream maps and spaghetti diagrams to simplify, streamline, and optimize everything you do in lean. And then we can start to work on hacking Six Sigma. And that's going to be in our next video.